So this is A Course in Miracles, and we are in chapter 31 of the text, and the name of this section is called Choose Once Again. It's the last section of the last chapter of the text, okay? And I was just saying that this section really sums up A Course in Miracles brilliantly and beautifully. It's also one of the most practical sections you could ever read or use in A Course in Miracles. And this section talks about what problems are, what your struggles are, what your challenges are, what your pain is, what your issues really, really are. A Course in Miracles says, first of all, you are not upset for the reason you think. You think you're upset because of your money problem and your job problem and your relationship problem and your body problem and your world problem and maybe your potential presidential candidate problem. Maybe you think that's your problem. Anybody in here think that that's their problem? Yeah. Well, I'm happy to tell you you're wrong.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you is right. So the Course in Miracles begins by telling us in this section that your problems, your struggles, your issues, your pain, your lack, whatever lack you experience, it is goes by one name, and that is temptation. Temptation, and it says that temptation has one lesson it would teach in all forms wherever temptation occurs. So your problems are a temptation to believe something. It doesn't say your problems are a temptation from the devil. It says your problems are a temptation to believe something that's not true about you. Why do I have this problem? Because my ego, my fearful mind is trying to tempt me to believe that I don't deserve love, and I don't deserve respect, and I don't deserve peace, and I don't deserve abundance. Okay? So it says temptation has one lesson that it would teach in all its forms, wherever it occurs. Here's what temptation or your problems would persuade you, the innocent child of God, that you're just a body. That you're just a body, you're born in what must die, and you as just a body, you are unable to escape the body's frailty, and you are bound by what the body orders you to feel. That's what your problems are tempting you to believe. You're just a body, you're limited, you're a prisoner. Whatever your body experiences, that's what you got to experience too. That your body orders how you feel, and all you can say is, yes, sir. And you're limited by its limits and its frailty. And that's who you are. You're a limited, frail, bound, imprisoned body that's going to die. But have a nice day. That is the one lesson, that all our problems and struggles and challenges and pains, that's the one purpose that our problems have. They are to tempt us to believe that we're just a limited, guilty, frail body is gonna die. Okay, but try to steal as much pleasure as long as you can. That's what temptation, that's what problems teach. That's their one lesson. Temptation has one lesson it would teach. And then, not only that, temptation or your problems are also trying to teach you that the body sets the limits on what you can do. All you can do is what your body will allow you to do. That's it. And also that your body's power is the only strength you have. That's the only strength you have is what your body has. Wow, that's kind of limited. And also your problems are trying to teach you that your grasp, what you can have, cannot exceed your body's tiny reach. The only thing you can have, honey, is what your body can get. And if happiness is in California, too bad. If happiness is in someone else's body or somewhere else on the other side of the world, too bad. You know, the only thing that you cannot exceed your body's tiny grasp, your body's tiny reach. Then it says, okay, so this is what your problems, challenges, issues, pain, sorrow, grief, sickness is trying to convince you of. Imagine that, thinking of your problems as a temptation. This is a, oh, I got some money temptations this morning. Anybody got any money temptations this morning? I have some relationship temptations this morning. I have some health temptations. I have a health condition that is trying to, where my ego is trying to convince me that I am a limited, frail, fragile body that tells me what I can do. Wow. Yes, Chris.
So could you repeat what you said about that we can only have what the body is capable of grasping?
It says, and this problem is trying to convince you that your grasp cannot exceed your body's tiny reach. So if it's beyond my body's reach, too bad. Oh well, can't have it. Right? So that's what it's trying to teach us. We're limited, we're frail, we're bound like prisoners, and whatever your body is experiencing, that's what you got to experience. Whatever limits your body has, that's what limits you have. Sorry, but have a nice day. Maybe there's something good on TV tonight. Now, what if we started looking at our problems and went, temptation, oh, it's a trick. It's a trick. It's a temptation. It's my fearful, limited mind trying to tell me that I'm limited and frail and mortal and fallible and guilty and, too bad. Okay? That's what it says. It says temptation has one lesson it would teach in all its forms wherever it would occur. It's trying to persuade you that you're just a limited, frail, separate body that's going to die. All right. And you're a prisoner of it. Has anybody in here ever felt like a prisoner to their body?
Very much.
Okay. All right. That's the purpose of our problems. That's the purpose of our problems, that we feel like a prisoner to the body, and so much a prisoner to the body that when it dies, we do too. Okay. All right. That's its purpose. It seems like our problems are accidents. It seems like they're just happening to us. It seems like they just happen. Our problems seem like they're just a natural part of life. They're not. According to this, they're temptation. They're our fearful, guilty mind trying to convince us, to persuade us that we're limited, fragile, guilty, mortal, fallible, and full of sin. Okay? That's what they are. Now, then the author of the course asks us a very interesting question. It says, would you be this? Would you consent to be just a prisoner to this limited, fragile body? Would you be this if Christ, which the course defines as your real self, your healed self, your self that has remained as God created you, your healed, powerful, your unlimited self, that's the Christ. The Christ in you is your unlimited self, the self that you were created, that was created by God, that you still are. Would you be this limited, fragile, frail prisoner to your body if your unlimited real self came to you, appeared to you in all its glory, asking you this question? So if your unlimited self appeared to you in all its radiant glory and asked you, would you like to choose again? Would you like to choose again if you would take your place among the healers of the world? Or would you like to stay in hell and keep everybody here with you? Now, if your unlimited self appeared to you, I just want you to imagine your unlimited self for a second. Let's just, what a great exercise. I would like you to imagine your unlimited self. A self that knows that you deserve everything. You deserve all love. That you have all powers. You were created by love. Your unlimited self. The self that knows. It's not limited by a body. That's ridiculous. I am part of the universe. I was created by an unlimited love and power. What do you mean I have a limit? What do you mean I'm a prisoner to this? What do you mean I end when this ends? What are you talking about? I am part of the universe. I'm unlimited. If your real self your unlimited self appeared to you. Boy, that'd be a nice visitation. In all its radiant glory, and said to you, are you ready to take your place among the healers of the planet? Or would you like to just stay where you are in hell?
No.
And keep everybody else here with you in hell?
Ready.
Okay. So basically the answer is no. You know, would you consent to be a guilty, limited, separated prisoner to the body if your unlimited self came to you and said, we need you. We need you. Are you ready to help us save the world? Or do you need a little more time in hell? So I hear you guys saying, no, I wouldn't consent to just be this guilty, limited prisoner to my body, prisoner to this situation, prisoner to this problem. No, I'm not going to consent to be that. Not when I have this option here. So, A Course in Miracles is basically saying two things. When you have a problem that you are facing, and it feels real, and it seems like you are in an impossible situation. You've tried for years and years and years and years to fix it, and this seems impossible. The Course in Miracles is saying this. This is your opportunity to, you can either be a victim of this and be sad and miserable and stay in the hell of being a victim to your situation, or you can say, you know what, I don't care what seems to be going on, I am going to try to take my place in being a healer to the planet. You got two choices. You can stay with the problem as a victim, an angry victim, or you can say, I don't care what it seems to be going on, I want to help the world to heal.
Yes.
And it says the moment that you make the decision that no matter what you're going through, you want to use this to be of better service of the healing of the planet, guess what happens to that situation, that problem, that limit? It disappears. So it's interesting. So the world tells you, you got a problem, you need to fix it. And you need to get other people to change for you, and you need to get yourself to change. You got to change other people. You got to change something outside of yourself. And of course, the Miracles is saying, no. All you got to do is remember what you're really about. What are you about? What do you want? And if you say, what I really want is to take my place among the healers of the planet, that's what I really want, then whatever it was that seemed to be your limitation is now, it's your teaching aid. So, and now it's your teaching aid. So let's just say you had a major life-threatening illness. Here you are, you have a challenge. I can either sit here and be the victim, the angry victim of the body that is sick and the world that made it that way, or I can say, you know what? I don't care what's going on with me. I want to help the world to heal. And so that's all I'm going to do. And that's all I'm going to use this for. And then guess what happens? Now, whatever life-threatening illness you have, now is your teaching aid for helping to heal the planet. Now you use that sickness to heal the planet. Wow. All because you decided that you wanted to take your place among the healers of the world instead of being an angry victim to the body and to the world. Wow. So now whatever you thought your problem was, your limitation was, now it's the very perfect vehicle for you to take your place among the saviors of the world. Wow. Isn't that beautiful? And so now what seemed like a limitation and a problem is no longer a limitation and a problem. Now it's a blessing.
Interesting.
Have you ever met people who have survived a life-threatening illness and they'll tell you that that's one of the best things that ever happened to them?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's why. That's why. Because instead of choosing to be the angry victim, they chose to still be of service to the healing of the planet. And the next thing you know, that became the best thing that they could have ever used to help their world to heal. And anybody else who suffered. Wow. So, then it says, oh, and by the way, your higher self, your unlimited self has come.
Yay!
So, yeah.
Yay!
And by the way, your higher self has come and is asking you this. Like, would you be this limited, angry victim to the body and to the world if your higher self, your unlimited self came to you and said, hey, would you rather take your place among the saviors of the world or stay here in hell and keep everybody else with you? By the way, your higher self, your unlimited self has come to you and is asking you this. That is what's happening. Wow. That is what's happening. That's why you're hearing this. Okay? That's why you're hearing this today. You wouldn't be hearing this if that had not occurred already. That's interesting. Wow. How did it know? Wow. Beautiful. Now, so before we end class today, we are going to take a few minutes and actually close our eyes and see our unlimited self that is here, apparently, that is here and is asking us this question. Okay? All right. Then it says, now, how do you make this choice? Right? We got a choice. Do you want to be this angry victim to the body and the world? Or do you want to take your place among the saviors of the world? How do you make that choice? That's a choice, right? How do you make that choice? Next logical question. Well, how easily is this explained? Okay, explain to me how to make that choice. Well, for starters, you're always choosing between two things. You're always, whatever choice you make, you're always choosing between two things. What are those two things? You're always choosing between your weakness and the strength of Christ in you. The strength of your unlimited self. That's the only two things you're ever choosing between, whatever you're choosing. Am I gonna choose to go with that I'm weak and limited and lacking and I need to make decisions based on that? Or am I going to make decisions based on that my real self, my true self is unlimited and everlastingly deserving of everything? Which one am I going to choose? You're always choosing between your weakness or your unlimited nature. Either one. You're going to be coming from one or the other, otherwise known as love or fear. Okay? So that's the first thing he wants us to know when explaining to us how you make the decision to side with your unlimited self to save the world. Okay? First thing you need to know, you're always choosing between your weakness or your unlimited nature and your unlimited function. And he says, and what you choose is what you think is real. What's real in me? My weakness, I'm a limited, frail, imprisoned body, and a prisoner to the world? Or do I think that what's real about me is my unlimited nature? The unlimited nature of love. I'm always going to choose whatever I think is real. And so, but here's how you do it. Here is how you choose to side with your unlimited nature and choose to, from your unlimited nature, be part of the healing of the planet. Here's how you do it. Simply by never using weakness to direct your actions. Interesting. Do what? Simply never using your weakness to direct your actions. Why is that? Because when you don't use your weakness to direct your actions, you've given your weakness no power. And so now it has none. Wow. Okay. So I really do. Go ahead.
What would be an example of giving my weakness or directing my weakness in my actions? Like what? That's
okay.
choosing fear.
Yes.
So that's Okay.
Exactly. Okay, so got a situation and it seems like I need to make a choice. And I can either, let's just say for instance, there's a choice to be made in a situation. And let's just say you're feeling weak, which means afraid, ashamed, limited, lacking, undeserving, angry. These are all synonyms for weakness, by the way, right? Because when you feel those emotions, are you actually more powerful or are you actually weaker? So when you feel anger, shame, pain, lack, limited, any of those synonyms for weakness, don't take action from that state of mind.
Got
It's
it.
a very, very, very extremely practical guide for action. When you are in your ego, when you are feeling afraid or angry or guilty or ashamed, anything but peace and love and joy, don't take action. Or if you take action, don't let your weakness guide that action. Wow. Now notice it didn't say, don't be weak. It didn't say, don't be afraid. Don't be guilty. Don't be ashamed. It didn't say that. It just said, don't let it guide or direct your actions. Isn't that beautiful? And so it's not saying you have to be without an ego. It's not saying you have to be egoless, you have to be healed in order to take your place among the healers of the world. We have that belief, I know I want to help. I know I have ability to help. I know I want to take my place among the healers of the world. I know I want to be part of the solution, but I just don't feel like I know enough, and I don't have the skills, or I'm still so flawed. Everybody knows that the great teachers and healers of the world had no flaws. They were perfect. That's why they were the healers of the world. The Course in Miracles is saying not at all. It's saying you don't have to be perfect to take your place among the healers of the world. You don't have to be healed. You don't even have to be happy. You don't have to be healed, you don't have to be healthy, you don't have to be abundant, you don't have to be free. All you have to do is don't let your weakness direct your actions. Wow, how powerful. So it's like this, you want to be of service? Well, when you're in your ego, don't do anything. Real simple. Let's get it down to the basics. When you're in your ego, don't do anything. Don't do anything. Don't take action. Yes.
I don't know if this is helpful, but I realized a long time ago, when I ask myself, what would I do if I had no fear, it helps me see where my fear is coming up.
Yeah.
Not that I'm capable
Right.
of it, but it clarifies where my actions are coming from. So if I ask myself, what would I do if I had no fear, then I
Very good.
realize where my fear is and how it's guiding me. So I can set it aside and go, oh, well, that's what I would do if I had no fear. Maybe I can or I can't in that moment, but I can see it at least.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, and it's usually the exact opposite of
what
what
you
your
think.
ego's telling you.
Yes. It's always the exact opposite of what
Yeah.
the ego's telling you. Yes, exactly. Yes, Chris.
So, what do you do if you're say at work, you're starting to feel frustrated and weak? And
Oh, I don't know. This doesn't apply to that.
Well, because for me, when I'm in those states, it usually takes me a while to get out of those. But at work, I have to
Right.
react.
You have to be right. Exactly. Yes, at work you have things you have to do,
Right.
but still, even if you're at work and you're taking actions coming while you're feeling weak, while you're deciding or believing your weakness is real, you're not going to be real effective at work.
Right.
Yeah.
And recognizing that the problem is actually just a temptation
Yes.
to believe that I am actually
that I'm
very-
weak.
Yeah, exactly, that I am weak. So
That-
even just that awareness.
Yes,
Of like,
even-
oh,
yes,
okay, this is what's showing me that.
Exactly. 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 So then it says, when you don't let your weakness direct your action, what you're really doing is, well, you're letting the light of your unlimited self be given charge of everything you do. So what it's saying is, unlimited self, I put you in charge of everything I do from this point forward. I put you in charge. Isn't that great? Just by saying, I will not let my weakness direct my action in this situation, you're automatically saying, unlimited self, I give you charge of everything I'm doing. I give you charge. Decide for what I do, my real self, my higher self. Isn't that beautiful? And it says, because here's what you've really done. When you don't let your weakness direct your action, what you've done is you've brought your weakness to your unlimited self, and then your unlimited self has given you its strength instead. Wow, all that just by not taking any action when I'm insane. Common sense, when you're crazy, don't do anything. Real common. Remember, the Course in Miracles says the second coming of Christ is the return of common sense. It's not when who comes and, takes all who have been, good little children. It's the return of common sense. And what's common sense in this situation? When you're insane, which means weak, don't do anything. Don't take any action. Do nothing. Like the Course says, I need do nothing, especially now. Just when you're insane, just don't do anything. Except, if you'll just not do anything, then your unlimited self, your higher self, can then do whatever needs to be done. How loving is that? Whoever came up with that plan for our healing, now is that not the most loving, easy plan you could ever imagine? Yeah, that's not a plan we would have come up with. Not even close. Yes.
So I'm sorry. I just wanted to get back to the working.
Of course. Of course. Since I didn't explain it well enough.
So last night I was stressed out, but I was saying my lesson over and over. So then would that suffice? Yes, absolutely. That is absolutely not using your weakness to direct your action. Absolutely. So good job. Good job. All right. Okay. Then it says the same thing over again as usual. Okay. I will now proceed to repeat myself again. Trials are only lessons. What kind of lessons? Said this trial that I'm going through is just a lesson which you failed to learn, presented once again, so that where you made a faulty choice before, you now can make a better choice, and in that way escape all pain which what you chose before has brought to you. Oh, that's what this problem is. It's a trial. Here you are on trial. Every problem is a trial. And this trial that you're going through is just a lesson. What kind of lesson? Oh, one that you didn't learn before, being presented again, because the universe loves you. This lesson came back around not because you're an idiot, but because the universe loves you and is giving you another chance to choose again. So that where you made a faulty choice for fear and shame and anger before, you can make a better choice, which is to be part of the solution. And then by making that better choice, escape all the distress that your former choice brought you before. Wow. All the pain that my former choice brought me before, I can escape by making a better choice now. I like that plan. The Course in Miracles, the truth heals retroactively. Why? Because truth is beyond time. It goes forward, it goes backwards, it goes up and down. It goes everywhere at once. It's omnidirectional. Okay? So,
So whatever issue you got going on right now, it's just a trial, it's just a lesson that you didn't learn before. Before, when you had this lesson came up, you chose to side with your weakness, you took action from your weakness, and you got pain. Now it's being presented again in a different form. Why? Because the universe loves you and says, you want to try again? It's okay. How about now? That's all right. How about now? That's how the universe is. There's no judgment. It's just, how about another opportunity? How about another one? How about now? How about now? How about now? And it's like that until you finally say yes. The universe is not impatient like we are. The universe is like, I don't care if you've taken 35 lifetimes. How about now? You know, unlike us. So, and it says, so in every difficulty, in all distress, in each perplexity, your unlimited self inside of you is calling to you and says to you gently, gently, my brother, choose again. That's it. My brother, my sister, choose again. Choose again. Choose again. Now that's what your unlimited self within you, your loving, unlimited self that is within you, that is the real you, that's all it ever says. In the middle of every difficulty, every distress, every perplexity, every pain, everything that you call an impossible situation, all your unlimited self is saying to you is, my brother, choose again. That's it. That's what's going on. That's the call that's being made to you in the center of every perplexity, every distress, and every, what was the other one? Every perplexity, distress, and difficulty. Yes, wow. That's all that's going on. Now, the reason that your unlimited self within you is saying that to you in the center of every perplexity and distress and difficulty is this. Why is that? That our unlimited self is always saying that to us no matter what we're going through. It's because your unlimited self would not leave one source of pain unhealed, no image left to veil the truth in you. What does that mean? That means your higher self within you wants to remove all misery from you, whom God created altars unto joy. Your unlimited self, your higher self in you doesn't want to leave you comfortless. Your higher self, your unlimited self, doesn't want to leave you alone in your dreams of hell. And your unlimited true self, your real self, wants to release your minds from everything that hides love's face from you. Wow, who knew? And not only that, the holiness, which means the wholeness of your unlimited self, your true self, is yours, because this self in you is the only power that is real in you. Its strength is yours because it is the self that God created as God's only creation, only child. Wow,
You just explained why we don't get to choose the curriculum of the course, only when we choose to take on the trials.
Say that one more time. That's why.
Why we don't get to choose the curriculum, because it's trying to remove every pain, every obstacle to us achieving peace. And
that's right. Exactly. Okay, so we just heard that the reason that in all perplexity, all difficulty, all distress, there's a part of us that loves us unconditionally, that's always there behind the scenes, in that quiet, still, small voice within us that's always saying, oh, my brother, oh, my sister, choose again. It's okay. Choose again. How about now? How about now? How about now? Choose again. And the reason it's always there and it's always asking us that is because all it wants to do, And all it was created to do is to do what? To not leave one source of pain unhealed in our mind. It doesn't want to leave one source of pain unhealed in our mind. It doesn't want one image left to veil the truth about ourselves. It wants to remove all misery from us who God created alter unto joy. This part of us, our real self, doesn't want to leave us comfortless, doesn't want to leave us alone in our experience of hell. It doesn't want to leave us alone and comfortless in our illusions of hell. Now, the Course doesn't mince words. The Course calls what we go through hell. The Course calls what we make for ourselves hell. Right? It doesn't mince words. It's not, all like positivity, what's the word? Positive thinking. Okay? And that's why it's always there. Saying, choose again. Choose again. It's all right. You're innocent. Choose once again. Choose once again. It's just a lesson you didn't learn before presented once again. No big deal. Just choose again. That's what it's always saying. Because all it wants is to remove all pain from our mind and to not leave us comfortless and alone in dreams of hell. Isn't that nice to know that there's a part of us that feels that way about us?
Yes.
Thank you, God. Because you know what? If it wasn't for that part of us, the true part of us, our real self, if it wasn't for that God gave us, then we would be screwed. Cosmically, eternally, for good. Wouldn't we? Okay. But because of the higher self within us, the Course in Miracles calls the Christ in us, we'll always have another chance to choose again. All right. Now, I'm going to skip a couple paragraphs because we're going to finish with this last paragraph. I want you to go to the paragraph that says, learn then the happy habit of response. So it's just a couple paragraphs. It's just a couple paragraphs forward.
Oh.
See it? Learn then the happy habit. See it? Here are our instructions to how to respond to your trials, how to respond to your difficulty, your perplexity, your distress, whatever form it takes. Here is the happy habit of response to your trials, to perceive yourself as weak and miserable and in hell forever. Okay? Here's the way to respond to your temptation to see yourself as weak and miserable forever. Here's how it goes. When you are experiencing that, you say, I am as God created me. That means God's children, God's child can suffer nothing, and I am God's child. Here it says God's Son. God's Son is us. God's Son is God's creation. That's us, God's children. So, when you are experiencing difficulty, distress, trial, weakness, you say to yourself, you tell yourself the truth. When you are tempted to feel weak and miserable, an angry victim, when you are tempted, here's what you say, I am as God created me, which means I remain exactly as God created me. Which means I, who I really am, can suffer nothing. Who I really am can suffer nothing. Who I really am can suffer nothing. And I am God's child. I am God's creation. So what the answer to the temptation to perceive yourself as weak and miserable is to remember that who you really are isn't weak and miserable. Can't be weak and miserable. It's remembering that the real you, the truth about you, is that you can't suffer. You can't be weak. You can't be limited. You can't be guilty. You can't be limited. You can't die. You can't even suffer. The real you. The Course in Miracles has a workbook lesson that says, whatever suffers is not part of me. And it's a good, and he's saying that if you will say that and remember that when you are tempted to feel like who you really are is weak and miserable, then what you'll experience is your real self that cannot suffer, that is not weak, it's not limited, and so it's not miserable. That is the happy, and he's saying, giving us instruction, he's saying, I want you to learn the happy habit. Anybody got any bad habits? Anybody got any unhappy habits? I never even thought I could have a happy habit. Wow, that sounds like a good name for a restaurant. Happy habits. Learn. Do yourself a favor and learn a happy habit. Okay, this would be a happy habit. To respond like that when you feel weak, when you are tempted to feel weak and miserable and to feel limited, to feel like you're limited to this body. Whatever it feels, you gotta feel. Whatever its limits are, your limits. That's the core of misery. That's why we're miserable. So learn, which means what? Remember, which means practice the happy habit of response to all temptation to see yourself as weak and miserable by saying, I remain exactly as unlimited love created me, and so I cannot suffer, and I am unlimited love's child. So say that. And then last line, we won't go into the next paragraph. In that way, your unlimited self-strength is invited to prevail, and it replaces all your weakness with the strength that comes from God and the strength that can never fail. And this way, miracles are as natural as fear. Miracles become as natural as fear and agony appeared to be before the choice for holiness was made. That's what happens. Oh, nice. Okay, so what happens? You say, I remain exactly as unlimited love created me, and so because of that, who I really am cannot suffer, and I am God's creation. When you say that as a response, then all the strength of your real self is what? Invited to prevail. It replaces all of your weakness with the strength that comes from God. And the next thing you know, that in your relationships and on your job and in your body, miracles seem as natural as agony used to be. Remember how natural agony used to seem? That's just life. Life's a bitch and then you die. Remember how natural agony used to feel? Used to be, that's the way it is. Now it's going to be that miracles of love and joy and freedom are going to seem just as natural as agony used to seem. Why? Because you invited the strength of your real self to prevail and to replace all your weakness. Amen. Amen. All right. All right. So, if you need to go, you may. It is 2 o'clock. So, if you have somewhere more important to be, you are innocent. Hopefully, they will be telling you the same thing or better. All right. Otherwise, I'm going to do announcements, our love offering, and then we're going to do a 2-minute integration meditation. And that's where I take these ideas and we use them. We're going to apply this response to anywhere you feel tempted to feel weak today. Okay? All right. So, love offering basket is right here. I'm going to start this here, hon, if you'll just pass that back. Okay. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for not running out the door when you saw that it wasn't Earl teaching today. I really appreciate that. Oh, thank you.
Well, I really appreciate learning this lesson in the midst of what I'm experiencing, discomfort and giving away my power of a lack of peace in this political climate that we're experiencing. And so when I have something, I've been using my workbook lessons to address the temptations that are arising in that I'll use as excuses to feel separate. And I really appreciate this very straightforward lesson that I can apply, and I'm so excited to use it.
Right on, me
Especially
too.
with this
Me
particular
too. Yes.
theme of
Yes.
politics.
I was talking to my dad last night, you know, very conservative man of the world, and we were talking about politics, and he was getting all worked up, and he goes, in your classes, when you stand up to teach, do you address these issues? What do you say about what's going on politically in your classes? And I was like, well, a lot, actually. I just don't use any names.
Well, it's all temptation.
It's all temptation.
what distills
Why
to
would we
either
be
love or fear.
afraid? Why would we be afraid of what was happening politically if we didn't think that it had the power to make us weak?
Yeah, totally.
I believe that who the president is has power to make me weak and miserable. Well, guess what? I was already weak and miserable. Been that way a long time, and I've been through a lot of presidents.
But now
And you're right. Apparently any upset, according to this, really is the belief that I am weak and I am limited and separate and I am at the mercy of a world that's outside of me, and I'm at the mercy of a body that can die. That's why I'm upset. I feel weak. If I knew that I was immortal and I was unlimited, I would not be upset about who might be president.
You can actually choose to not participate in the fear and separation.
I could then help my world to be a happier, healed place that wouldn't have this issue. That's what I would do. If I knew that I remained exactly as unlimited love and power created me, I would just take my place in helping the world to be so full of love and light that knew it wasn't separate, that the world would become like heaven. That's what I would do. So, all right, so announcements. So I do my own Course in Miracles class every Monday night at the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center. That's in the DU area. Every Monday night, 7:30 to 9. Drop-in donation, and feel free to join us for that. It's every Monday night, 7:30 to 9. I will have my cards out. I'll put them out when I'm done, so that you can take my card if you want to know about my classes, address. And I'm starting 2 new classes at the Miracle Center also every other Wednesday, a miracle meditation class where we learn how to quiet our mind so that we can hear the voice of our unlimited self guiding us. And I'm also teaching a Urantia class, which is another body of work that's really beautiful and helpful. That's every other Wednesday at the Miracle Center.
At what time?
The Urantia class starts at 6:30. The meditation class starts at 7:30. So meditation class 7:30. You can take my card if you're interested in those classes and text me, and you get more information. Okay. Also, I'm a holistic psychotherapist, and I use these principles in a therapeutic setting. So if you've got something going on that is a particular temptation, then you can utilize me to apply these ideas to that so that you can be experiencing miracles in that situation as natural. Okay, so you can go to my website, kujawa.com, to learn how to contact me to set up a Miracle Psychotherapeutic Session. Okay? All right, so now we're going to do a 2-minute integration meditation. If you need to go, you are so innocent, since I am going over our time. So, all right, so what I want you to do is just close your eyes and take a breath. Beautiful. Now, I want you to bring to your awareness a situation right now that is perplexing you or distressing you. Like this squeaky chair. Something that feels like a trial that you're going through. And I want you to bring to your awareness maybe a physical condition that feels like it's limiting you, that you feel limited by, or in any way, shape, or form that you feel like a prisoner to your body, or to your world, or to a particular situation. And I want you to bring that situation or relationship to your awareness. I want you to take note of how it feels. I want you to take note of the story you have told yourself about this problem. What outside you did you believe had to change for this to be better? Beautiful. Take note of the emotions that you have felt around the situation or relationship. Okay. Now we're going to do what this section told us to do, the instructions. First thing I want you to do is I want you to tell yourself, this is a lesson. This is a lesson that I failed to learn, that is being presented once again, so that where I made a faulty choice in the past, I can make a better one now. Tell yourself the truth about the problem. We're going to do something different and tell ourselves the truth about the problem. And I want you to tell yourself more truth about this, and I want you to tell yourself, this is a temptation to perceive myself as weak and miserable. I am feeling tempted in this situation or relationship to see myself as weak and miserable, a victim, limited. This is a temptation to see myself as weak and miserable, limited, mortal, fallible, and full of sin. This is a temptation. This is a trick. Okay, now that you've told yourself the truth about it, now that you've told yourself the truth about the problem, now we are going to practice the happy habit of response to this temptation to see yourself as weak and miserable. So now I want you to say and to believe as deeply as you can, I remain exactly as unlimited love created me. My real self cannot suffer. My real self is not suffering. And I am God's creation. And we're going to say it one more time. I remain exactly as unlimited love created me. And so my real self cannot suffer. My real self is not suffering this. My real self is not weak. My real self is not miserable.
My real self is not miserable.
And I am love's creation.
And I am love's creation.
Beautiful. Now I want you for a moment to just rest and feel, if you can, the strength of your real self replacing the feelings of weakness and misery that you had felt before. And then I want you to imagine in this situation that you were experiencing agony, in this situation where agony seemed natural and normal, I want you for a moment to imagine miracles being more natural. If you were to experience a complete miracle in this situation or relationship, what might that look like? Might it look like the difficulty and the agony and the misery just disappearing?
Mm-hmm.
That would be a miracle.
That would be changing the attitude.
I want you to imagine that occurring naturally. No effort. Didn't do anything. Just happened. Just grace. What would it feel like if you were experiencing peace and freedom? That's just natural in this situation or relationship. What would that be like? I just want you to imagine that for a moment and just say yes to that.
Yes.
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 Yes, 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 yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. Alrighty. And to that we say amen.
Amen.
God, yea, truth. Give it up to yourselves for